Toronto Blue Jays have made more moves, and following what has been a devastating past few games for the Toronto Blue Jays, moves continue to be made. And this one is extremely interesting. We'll break down exactly what that move is, as well as discuss John Schneider calling out his team and calling out his stars. We also have a few other updates to go over today, including one regarding Max Scherzer. But before we get into all that, folks, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. Your guys' supports are unbelievable, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. And also, bear with the setup, of course. I'm currently traveling, so it's going to be different setup for the next few days. So quality will continue to improve over the next few days. But thank you guys again for your continued support. Let's dive right into the video. Obviously, the Jays are coming off of a brutal series. Quite frankly, against the Rays. They got swept. It was really bad, and now they need to come out and change that for tonight against the Rangers this afternoon, But they made some moves, but also there's some new updates that we have that, especially from John Schneider. But let's just start with the moves here, and you can see here, roster moves. Ali Sanchez was selected to the Major League roster, and Tyler Heineman was placed on the 7-day IL, with Josh Walker being DFA'd. Now, of course, we have some new updates as it pertains to these moves, because, of course, this happened before yesterday's game, and then, obviously, some interesting things have happened since then. So, Tyler Heineman, he's down with a concussion for 7 days, and surprisingly, he's been one of the Jays' better players this season. So, to see him be sent down, or not be sent down, sorry, be put on the IL, it actually does hurt this team, and, of course, Ali Sanchez is going to be on the Major League roster in the meantime, and Josh Walker, who was a lefty and who was playing, a little bit occasionally, is DFA'd, but the big deal here is that Tyler Heineman is not going to be able to play for a while because of a concussion. I would assume just the week, and it's retroactive to a couple days ago, so I'm assuming he's going to miss 2 or 3 more games. But also Josh Walker being DFA'd for assignment. At the end of the day, nothing too crazy surrounding these moves, but also hopefully Tyler Heineman is not going to have any lingering effects. We've seen this across baseball and across hockey and all these different sports. Concussions are a little bit dangerous, a little bit sketchy, so sometimes players miss more time than initially thought. Hopefully that's not the case with Tyler Heineman, and he's good to go later this week for either finishing up the series against the Rangers or into the next series. But let me know down below what your thoughts are on those moves. Let's dive into some interesting things now, because we all know that the Jays just came off of a horrible stretch of play. And of course, it was a concussion for Heineman. He got hit a couple times. But I want to touch on a couple different things here, because obviously the Jays are at a point now where they are struggling. And John Schneider came out in the postgame and called out his players. He was pretty direct. He wasn't happy with careless mistakes like Gosse getting picked off and the lineup seeing 4 pitches in 1 inning. We didn't play up to our capabilities. We're better than that. And this is something that usually John Schneider, as we know if you've been following Jays for a while, he's pretty laid back. He doesn't call out players. He doesn't call out really bad play. And it's something that a lot of fans dislike about John Schneider, is and maybe how laid back he is, and how he won't always go out there and call out his players. He did do that yesterday. Now, he directly called out Jonathan Gosse, but he also called out the 4-pitch inning, so Bichette, all those guys, but also just the offense in general. They scored 3 runs over 3, or maybe 2 runs over 3 games, 3-1, 3-1, and then 13-0, which is ridiculous. And again, changes are going to happen for this team if they continue to fall this way, but it's the most inconsistent team in baseball. You're going from sweeping a very good team in the Padres, albeit they were struggling, to then getting swept by a not a very good team in the Tampa Bay Rays. So it begs the question of what's happening with this squad. Now, for him to come out and say this, it makes some sense. Hopefully this will light a fire underneath the team, because it is true. They're not playing up to their capabilities. They are better than that, but the offense is so inconsistent. You're not getting production from Anthony Santander, who probably needs to be put on the IL as well and just let him go. But you're also not getting production from a lot of guys. And when that's happening, you really can't have mistakes like they had yesterday. And did it matter in the end? No, they gave up 13 runs. It was a bad outing for Mason Flaherty, an interesting outing for Guerrero Rodriguez. We saw Michael Stefanik pitch a scoreless inning, throwing 61 miles per hour. But those are the games that make you question how good this team actually is. They go from 1 game above 500 to 2 games below 500. They get swept by the Rays. And at a point where you're just fighting for not even a playoff spot at this point. It is a playoff wildcard spot, but the division is this is the one year where the division is bad in the AL East. And obviously the New York Yankees are very, very good. But other than that, the division hasn't been very good at all. You need to be able to take advantage of, games, years where the AL East is not good. And you have, of course, you're going to be dealing with injuries to guys like Tyler Heineman. Of course, injuries like we saw the other day to Jimmy Garcia, which those things start to build up. Those things matter. But that's why you win games when you're healthy, to build up a bit of a cushion. And that's why you obviously add depth, which the Jays did with Jose Urena and Spencer Turnbull. But Interesting. Let me know down below. Who do you blame most here for the failure so far of this team this season? It hasn't been completely all bad, but Vladdy's hitting really well right now. Vladdy's hitting really well. Bichette, he's slowly getting better, but at the same time, they need the guys in this team to step up. Santander has been the biggest disappointment. He's getting paid $92 million over 5 years. He hasn't really done much of anything, and there's people clamoring for him just to be sent down, just to let him be better. And it doesn't get any easier this week against the Rangers. You're going up against their aces. DeGrom, we all know DeGrom, fantastic. Nathan Eovaldi, a really, really good pitcher as well. And then Tyler Mahle against, guess what? For the Jays, a to-be-determined pitcher, because their fifth starter, who we also have an update on Max Scherzer, which we'll get into in a minute here, is still up in the air, whether that be Easton Lucas, whether that be Eric Lauer. Like, there's so many different guys. Paxton Schultz, probably. Jose Urena. They're at the point now where we're only a couple months into the season here, and we're already so far into the injuries, the bullpen, all these different things, that it gets a little bit frustrating, especially when they're losing this many games and there's this many injuries happen, this much movement happening around. And the Jays have been lucky in previous years with injuries, and they've kept their main guys healthy, whether that's Vladdy, Bo. Most of those guys have been healthy over the past few years, especially Vladdy. Vladdy's on an on-base streak right now, and the team needs to take advantage of that. But speaking of injuries, Max Scherzer, as of a couple days ago, he's ramping up his recovery. He's set to throw bullpen sessions on Saturday and, of course, today before accompanying the Jays for the road trip against the Rangers. So he's going to be on this road trip, of course, not playing or anything, but he's going to be throwing around. The veteran righty is still a long way from coming off the injury list, but if this bullpen session goes well, Scherzer could face live batters within this week until he's able to build up his thumb past 50 pitches, which was the point it began to bother him earlier in the season. There won't be a clear timeline for his return. So this is positive nonetheless. He's going to join the team on the road trip today against the Texas Rangers. Of course, they come back home on Thursday to play the Oakland Athletics, who are in the middle of a losing streak here. But at the end of the day, you're not going to know for Scherzer until he builds his thumb up past 50 pitches. And we could do all this. He could do all this recovery, and then boom, he pitches for 50, 60 pitches in a rehab game or something like that. And then boom, the thumb flares back up, and then you're back to square one. It's been an interesting and unfortunate series of events here for Max Scherzer. There's no doubt about it. But also at the same time, you kind of expected this. He's old. He's 40 years old, and the Jays did a lot of hoping this offseason. And Scherzer, it was a risky pick regarding a signing. Anthony Santander, in theory, was less risky, but he hasn't played well either. And as a result, the Jays are in a very interesting and beginning to be rough spot. But again, the AL East is really bad. Red Sox aren't good. The Jays haven't been playing well. You have time to make it up. And you also have Alan Roden down in AAA, absolutely mashing. Do we see him come up soon? There's a very real possibility. And we knew, and I said on the video, once Alan Roden gets sent down, he's going to mash AAA. It's a matter of if he can hit at the major league level. But there's not a ton of room with the Major League roster right now, but I think if they're going to ask to shake something up, it'll be a trade. I wouldn't be surprised if John Schneider gets let go if they continue to lose this bad. But at the same time, they're an up-and-down team. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out and randomly sweep the Rangers in this series. But let me know down below what your thoughts are on all this. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.